The Do This podcast is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network. In today's episode, Bob Stewart and Chad Hyams welcome a special guest, president of Brivity, David Wiggs. Together, they explore how AI is revolutionizing real estate. Learn about the role of Brivity's AI assistant, Gabby, designed to manage millions of leads by analyzing user data and optimizing sales strategies. Learn about Gabby's integration in Brivity, call coaching tools, and insights on using AI to amplify agent effectiveness without replacing human interaction. We hope you enjoy this episode of the Do This podcast, presented by Brivity.
Hey, Chad Hyams. Ooh, we have a special guest. Hi, we will bring him on here in just a second. Let's do this. We're going to talk today about AI, Chad?
Yes, not what they think. Don't think we're just jumping into conversation on ChatGPT versus Gemini versus Claude and all that kind of. We're going a completely different way on AI, Bob.
Yeah, we have a guest, David Wiggs. Welcome.
Wait. Come on. Don't just welcome him. Welcome him the right way today.
Happy birthday, recently.
There we
David
go.
Wiggs. Happy birthday.
All right, yes.
David just had a birthday. David, cake, cupcakes, like ice cream. Like, what's your birthday treat?
Chocolate chip cookies. My wife made chocolate chip cookies for me.
I would have been sure they were peanut butter cookies, knowing our relationship and all of that.
That's right.
In the back.
That's right.
I'm surprised.
Chocolate chip cookies.
David,
for me when I got home.
Do me a favor, like we make everybody do that joins us. Introduce yourself in the way that you'd like the audience to know you. Chad and I know you deeply and personally, and have been friends with you for a decade plus now. You've been to my home for Christmas parties and things, so I have a massive affinity for you. But let the people listen and know who's David Wiggs.
I am the president of Brivity. I've been working with Ben for them going into my 11th year, and I've had the honor of working with these gentlemen for that pretty much that whole time. And I show up every day and make sure that we deliver on the promises that we make to our Brivity customers. That's what I do.
Bob,
I love it.
I remember when David joined the organization. He had no title, no job. Brivity wasn't a thing. David just walked around the office. And I was like, Ben, who is this guy and what are we doing? He said, he's going to do some cool stuff with some video work for right now. And then all of a sudden, he never saw a video thing ever because there became a seat for him. Folks, one of the things I will tell you about David Wiggs that you don't have to know, Ben Kinney finds talent before it becomes talent. He stumbled upon myself and Bob somehow, yet he really hit home when he found David Wiggs for us over a decade ago.
Well, that's very nice. Well, I'm honored that I get to show up every day and work with you guys. And listen, I am on most of these calls that you do. I'm a huge fan of what you're doing here.
You're the reason I see the hearts go up the screen and the thumbs up and stuff, right? That's you in the background doing all that.
That's me.
Here, I'm gonna make a little joke to segue us into what we're gonna talk about today, David.
There we go.
Little known fact. You actually book our guests. You go out and find the people that Chad and I interview every Thursday. So did you book yourself?
Or could you just not get somebody?
And if you did book yourself, tell us what you wanted to dive into today.
That's a perfect segue. Yes. What I actually did is I booked a guest named Gabby. But because Gabby can't speak for herself, I thought we would show up and kind of, be the Jim Henson to the Kermit, right, and just try to help Gabby speak to this audience a little bit. So that's why I'm here.
Okay,
and yes, I do book all the guests.
why can't this Gabby person thing that you reference? Why can't it speak for itself? Tell me a little bit about Gabby.
Well, I mean, she can at some point. Number one, she's a she because she can multitask and she works harder than anyone else around us. So we all have, moms and sisters and partners in our lives. So she's a woman. Let's make no mistake.
Okay. That's fair. I say that because I think my wife's the smartest, most hardworking person I know. So that's why.
Yeah.
But okay.
Or she's a she. She's not sentient. She's not a woman. Okay. So Gabby, the reason I think this is important today is just what we have built at Brivity is really largely underpinned by a tremendous amount of data. And what an AI does better than anything in the world today is it chunks massive amounts of data and figures out what's most intelligent about that data. What do I need to know about all this stuff? So if you can imagine, right? And Bob, I've heard you say this a million times. If I've heard it once, I don't exaggerate. Gabby sits on every single listing in every single MLS in the country in her head, right? And knows all that information. So it's a powerful, powerful tool. It has a couple of different sort of flavors to it. She has a couple different flavors to her. And we're going to talk about all of them, but I want the Brivity folks to really understand that the Gabby tool that we're going to talk about today, it's available to you today. It's inside Brivity today. We want you to get in there and use it. So Bob's going to kind of guide us and be our guide and walk us through and show what that thing looks like. But then there's another section that's called Gabby ISA, and that's the thing that we've really been working on and perfecting for the last, I'd say, couple of years. And it's making a massive difference on our place partners of businesses today. It's not available to Gabby to Brivity folks yet, but it will be. So I just want to make that distinction. And as we walk you through and show it to you, we will tell you, like, hey, this is an ISA thing, not available to you yet, but this is what's coming, right? Let me share my screen for just a minute because I just want to set the stage. Hopefully this will. I always suck at sharing my screen.
That's okay. Chad will let you know if you suck at doing something.
Yeah, I suck.
That's why I'm here.
Let me hit share.
This is why we don't share screens on the fly, folks.
This is why we don't.
Days of practice when we're going to share screens.
This is advanced high level.
I don't know if you'll see. I don't know if you'll see all of that. Can you see that? Oh, you can
we can see that and the chat GPT behind it.
You can see all sorts of shit. Okay, so I just said the S word on a webinar. That's awesome.
That's all right.
Okay, so here's the thing. Gabby, over the last 3 years, and I put that. Look, I'm just gonna let you see my notes because I put this up here. I don't want to forget this stuff. We are more excited about what we've built today in Gabby than we've been about anything in a long, long time. We say a lot of times that that Brivity is a model, not a menu, right? You don't get to show up and just choose, what you do inside Brivity. Brivity it's a very opinionated piece of software, right? And as such, the Gabby tool that we built is very opinionated. Like this thing believes that you should show up and work your leads a certain way. This is the stuff I wanted to show you, and I'm not going to try to memorize it. I'm going to just share it with you. Now, this is the entire Gabby platform. This is the ISA portion, and it's also the Ask Gabby portion that we're going to show you about today. But back in 2024, when we started Gabby, that thing saved 270 humans. It replaced 270 humans assistance work. It replaced 492,000 hours. It's mind-boggling to me. It qualified about 7,500 high-intent prospects, and this was before it was really an ISA. 2025, this past year, it replaced 625 full-time assistants. It saved 1.1 million hours. Like this makes my head spin. It added 385,000 new leads. It drove consumer downloads and click-throughs of our app at a 20% rate, which is massive. And so far, just in the first couple of months, when I built this slide, this was delivered to our board, by the way. So when I built this slide, this was a couple of weeks back, Gabby had already saved 100,000 hours in the first 6 weeks of the year and generated 500 market reports. So I wanted to share those numbers with you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, please.
This comment is for anybody watching this that supports a real estate team who might be thinking, oh my God, like, is my job in danger? Here's what I would say about most of the work that Gabby's been doing. And we're talking about it in terms of like saved this many hours or did this much work. The cold hard reality is most of the work that the Gabby ISA tool or the Ask Gabby, like, it was not being done before. It's not like it's replacing work that a human was showing up and doing. What it's doing is working on like literally millions of old, cold, dead leads in these databases, in these hundreds of databases that we've been testing this thing out on that were never being worked before. This is like, it's additive work that these teams are able to bring on board and deploy into their database. It's not like we replaced Rex, our amazing virtual professional who helps us pull these things off and does marketing work on the team, right? This is work that was never being done by anybody that's now being done to the benefit of that team.
And Bob,
that's really well said.
It's bringing in some of the other tools. Like, we're not having to go use Grammarly and make that extra step and stuff, because Gabby's editing our emails when asked and editing our messages. So we're building it right in. It's just saving steps. That's where some of that time is being saved for you who's using the system.
Yeah, and look, AI is living everything. At some point, everything you turn on inside Brivity is going to have AI tied to it, right? The call coaching thing, which I think we've probably been on here and talked about call coaching. If we haven't, we need to, right? The recruiter AI piece that we've talked about here, right? To be able to go find agents, recruit those agents, right? And then this is all about getting them into production and retaining those folks. The phone system, Area Pro, Landvoice, all the stuff that we've built is really to supercharge the agent. Someone asked me, I was just at KWFR, the family reunion thing for KW, and I had more than one person come up and say, hey, what do you guys think about, like, you're doing all this AI stuff. Do you think it's going to replace agents? Like, and 5 years from now, maybe you'll have to pull this recording out and tell me I was wrong, but I don't believe it will. I think it's going to replace the crappy agents. I think it's going to replace the people that don't want to do the work, but the people that show up and put their work boots on and are willing to make the phone call and willing to be like uniquely human, doing something that the AI can't do. This is just supercharging those people. That's what I believe. I think it's going to make us uniquely more human. It's like back when, remember when the leisure class several hundred years ago came along, right? And all of a sudden people when they weren't out there killing their food every day, they were doing different things. There's a little bit of that happening, I believe, right? We're going to be more uniquely human, be able to do the things that we can do that an AI will never be able to do.
It'll allow us to connect to our clients at a higher level because we're not wasting time doing dotting I's and crossing T's.
Here, I have a recent like kind of story that hits that point. Jen Karstensen, one of our place partners, David, we have a kind of internal group on Facebook, and she had shared a story of a lead that she had been nurturing for 12 years. It'd been in her system for 12 years. The guy had never responded in 12 years. For the first 10 and a half years of that, it was different. It was listing alerts and it was auto plans and it was, and just, it'd probably be spaces of time of 6 months where nothing was happening. She'd find that old dead lead and put another new auto plan on it. And then for about the last year, Gabby had been nurturing that lead. And again, no response for 12 years through this whole thing. Finally, like a week ago, she went into the lead, I think because something Gabby had sent them. I'm gonna share my screen while I'm telling this story because I'm about to share a couple of different things here. Something that some website visit that had been initiated because Gabby had recommended a listing out to this gentleman. Right. Again, no response for all this time. In fact, I think she didn't even have she did have a phone number because Gabby was working it. Anyway, no response. He makes a website visit. And then what Jen did is she went in and now, admittedly, she said she'd never sent this guy anything, but she went in and sent one, to your point, well-crafted human message. The auto plans had worked for a bunch of years. Gabby for the last year had been working, sending things to this guy, probably accounting for some of these hours that, and this isn't her account, by the way, but some of these 336 hours that Julie's team, was saved in January. And then when the time was right, he'd engaged a property that she'd sent. A human showed up. Jen showed up in all her humanity and was like, whatever she said, right? And she left the message. She had kind of had some screenshots in there. And my commentary to her was like, this happened because you, the human, showed up in this equation, right? I don't know that Gabby, the ISA, the AI thing would have ultimately got him to reply. Who knows? But her humanity is what did it. And so I totally agree with your point there.
Yeah. This is about intent signals. And part of the reason we keep saying to folks, like, it's important that you use every single part of Brivity is because anytime you disconnect those things and you say, hey, I'm going to use my crappy website over here from God knows who, and I'm going to use this other tool over here because I've been paying for it and I really like it. And by the way, my agents just don't want to change, right? You lose intent signals. This entire product is meant to just share those intent signals and make that agent superpowered. And every time you unplug one of those things, or said maybe positively, every time you plug one of those things in, we are raising up those intent signals, sitting on every single MLS listing, out there for you. Like it's no human could even do that sort of thing. So we're supercharging some people.
I'm going to show everybody a couple things that our Brivity customers have. We dropped these kind of quietly on Monday night. I think we discussed them in our recent happy hour to let everybody know. But the two components that our Brivity customer have today, and I like to think of Gabby right now as kind of this three-headed monster in a good way, like the best monster ever. The first piece is this on every lead now. If any of you guys pull up a lead in your side of your Brivity, at the very top is going to be something that looks almost like this. Now, this last piece we'll talk about today, the AI, we call her the ISA version of Gabby. It's not quite there yet, but this section here has, David, recommendations. And so as I was mentioning recently to some of the people we kind of first introduced this to, Gabby is sitting, I think it's like 13, no, that's just for plays. 13 million. Gabby's sitting on many, 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 many millions of leads. Okay. I don't know the exact number. I'm sorry. It's many, many millions. It's every lead inside of Brivity. And she's got the collective knowledge of all of those leads. She's seen in the timeline. So what does she know about this lead? Well, she knows all their website activity. She knows all of the content in here. Any calls that have been recorded, she can listen to those calls. Any emails that are in here, any text messages you guys have sent back and forth.
Hey, Bob, hang on. Folks, this is why you dial through the Brivity app. Text through the Brivity. If you're calling them on the side, if you're texting them from your phone number on the side, Gabby's not seeing the communication. Use the app no matter how many times you've said, I don't want to, because you're missing all of this. Keep going, Bob.
Yeah. Yep. So she knows all of this stuff, including what they've been looking at. I can come over here to about this lead, and I could click in here and I could go to try to figure out like what, how many properties have they looked at in Vegas, Chad, or Hendersonville, or what price points are they looking in? Or I can just let her do a little bit of work here and go in and summarize. How old is this lead, by the way? Like a lot of times you guys have these leads in your database. Like this one's, 2 years old, right? Like, Gabby's giving me a little bit of chase. Gosh darn it. So she's. You guys are clearly like playing with her a little bit. Looks like she's having a little bit of trouble. Let's see if we can get Tina's to load up really quick here. Oh, there we go. She's kicking this stuff out a little bit slow right now. Roberto, turn up the. What do we run these things with? Like the chipmunks?
Hamsters.
Turn it to 11.
Hamsters.
Crank it to 11.
But look, so we can see like here's where this person's looking. They prefer 2 and 3 bedroom homes, single story. We're getting some errors in here. This is like all of Brivity is failing on me, David. Calling the smart developers or whatever. Okay, so this is one piece, you guys.
This is why you don't go live.
About this lead, I promise when it's working, it'll summarize this thing. It'll tell me where she's been looking on the web. What have been my previous conversations with this person? What's their current intent and timeline, right? Like it's picking out of here. This one has a recent buyer consultation appointment. It's going to see those text messages. It's going to tell us properties they're favored in. Like it's going to do, they currently own a 2-story home with a low mortgage. Like this is all coming out of this thing. Simply, Chad, like when I go and look at a lead, I'm like, I'm about to call this lead and I gotta load up through here and look back at all these notes and try to remember what's going on with this person that I probably haven't called in 2 months. Right. This makes it a heck of a lot. It kicked that thing up easier.
It's like everybody that's on this webinar is actually pulling up Gabby and messing around with her. We're probably pushing out new code or whatever. We're probably fixing stuff in the background.
Okay, so there's about this lead. Just summarizes it, David. The second thing we have then is Gabby recommendations. And so Gabby is going to tell you based on what's been going on with this lead. But not only with this lead, with again, I just used the place number. I think it was 13 million leads that it was sitting on before we rolled it out to all of Brivity. So it's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 million leads. But it doesn't just have the context of this lead to make a recommendation on what you should do. It has the context of 30 million other leads and the way those 30 million other leads have been worked. Because Gabby can see these leads being worked, David. She can see them turn from a nurture to a hot, or turn from a hot to a pending. Or so there's a lot of power in just doing whatever she recommends. David, I have one agent in our world who told me, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, she's like, I'm just gonna do whatever Gabby says. And I said, well, I love it. Tell me more. And she's like, I am somebody that's constantly in my own head, like just, drunk monkeying on every idea. You know what? I should call them. No, don't call them. They're going to be annoyed, right? And she's constantly second guessing all of her decisions in her database. So she said, you know what? I'm just going to do whatever it says. 2 months later, she's reporting to me that like she's having more success in her real estate career than she's ever had. Mostly because she's just kind of submitting probably to following the model and Gabby's set up and has been trained on, you mentioned earlier, Brivity's very opinionated. We have a lot of opinions around here about how we.
Bob, how often would you say you hear from people, I have too many leads, I don't know which ones to work, or you notice that they're only working the last 3 months that came in because they're cherry picking what's hot? Would you say that that's 75% at least of the conversations you have with people in Brivity?
98%.
98%. Okay. Folks, if you want to find a needle in the haystack, what's the best way to do it? You bring a big magnet. Right? Because if you're digging through that haystack, you're never finding it. Gabby's your magnet. Gabby's the one saying, hey, there's this lead from 6 years ago that's actually engaging. Pay attention. Send them a message. Call this person right now. Gabby's helping you keep those people top of mind for you. And she's the giant magnet that's going to help you find the needle in the haystack when you think you have crappy leads. It's because you haven't been working them. Listen to Gabby.
And there's something I think there's an inference I would draw here, right? When you looking at the activity feed up there at the upper right, like there's a couple things that you're going to see that start to happen inside Brivity as Gabby starts to get intelligent about that lead and she starts to make recommendations. We're also over here in the activity feed, I talked about intent signals. We're bubbling those things up for you, saying, hey, look over here. We know you have 20,000 leads in your database. We know you're looking for that needle in a haystack. Look over here. The call coaching thing that I talked about earlier, Gabby will eventually start connecting all these things together. So, Bob, talk a little bit about call coaching and what that's doing for agents today.
I'll show it.
Because at some point, you'll have a call coach Gabby will start suggesting to you, which she's already doing. Gabby will start saying, hey, this person came in. Here's what I think you should try saying to her. And in the meantime, call coaching will give you an opportunity to go experiment and instead of on your real leads, on a fake lead. So David, it's just, and it's not Gabby, but it's all AI and it's all just kind of working together.
I'll show. This is a little behind the scenes. This is being tested by a couple thousand agents right now, and our Brivity customers will get some access to this in the not too distant future. So this is we have had AI listen to hundreds of thousands of recorded phone calls from real estate agents with real live buyers and sellers. And out of that, we've figured out, how do you set appointments, David? Like, how do you go into your database, call people? What do you say to them? What are the questions you ask? How do you set appointments? And then we've taken out of those hundreds of thousands of calls that we've recorded and had the AI listen to, and we've created a bunch of personas. So we see those personas back here that agents can go in and practice on. And David, like you said, if they're not practicing on, with Chad in the morning at scripts practice or with this AI call coach, then they're practicing on your leads. You're practicing on your leads. I'm sorry to tell you guys, you are. Man, all the AI tools want to just be. This is why we make sure that we don't run them out to everybody, guys, before they're ready to go here. But all right, here's all the personas, right? Like Maybe I want some different buyer personas. Maybe I want to do the skeptical buyer, the first-time buyer, the open house buyer. I want to actually talk to somebody as if they were walking into my open house. That's really good practice. Sellers, what kind of sellers might I have? The expired. Anybody around here calling expireds or never have but think they should be, but need some practice before you do? Here they are. When you go in then, David, I hit call. I call this thing. By the way, I can set the level on here. Maybe I want it to be really hard. One of those, Chad, these are probably the expireds you were calling when you were on the Brinkus team, just getting your teeth kicked in, right? The advanced ones. But when I get in there and I make the call, when I'm done, it'll score me. So we've got, how well did they go for the close? How well did they handle objections? Just what was their general communication pattern? How well did they do discovery questions? And how well did they build rapport? But then we'll go in and we'll give them some suggestions. And they can even click right here and it'll take them to the place in the conversation where the suggestion is being made about the thing that, Chad, they said or they didn't say, right? I joke. My mom and my wife are not like attaboy people. They'll point out when you don't do it right, but they're not really good at giving you attaboys. Gabby, or the AI call coach is not like that. It'll attaboy you. It'll say, hey, here's some things you did well. Do more of those things. And I can even click right in here and it will take me to the point in the conversation where I did the thing well.
This was an 11-minute call with a quote unquote client.
Yeah.
Folks, you can't get that kind of practice without ruining opportunities with clients because you won't find a script partner that will keep it going, be taking notes on what you're doing well or not doing well. With it won't happen like this. You can have an 11-minute practice call to figure out if you can get that expired listing to set the appointment, if you can get that open house buyer to get into your car later that day, whatever it is, just wait for this tool. Like Bob said, we can't roll it out to everybody because the system has enough trouble getting up to, we're getting it so it's ready to handle everybody. Yet when this shows up, your first thing to do is use it.
Here's why.
I think that's the thing I want you to just take away from this is that intent signals are important. Us raising those intent signals up so that you can find them, and then us giving you the support so that you get better at converting those folks. And eventually when Gabby starts making recommendations of you should say this, you will already be ready to say that thing, right? So it's not Gabby, but it's just part of how the whole thing's going to work together. And that's maybe a little peek into Ben's head and what he's thinking about and what we're building.
David, real quick, because it was important to Ben when we started building the AI call coach specifically that we could prove that it was worth what we were costing to, or what we were spending to go bring it to life. And so here's what we've seen in the first couple of months that we've had some of our partners testing this thing. And we had a pretty big group and we did some things to get them to the point where they had done 50 practice calls in here. And on average, so we know in our world last year, David, it took us 33 contacts to set one appointment, one buyer appointment or one listing appointment. And so somebody that's had 50 practice sessions on the AI call coach has reduced the number of contacts it takes them to set an appointment on average by 10%. So they went from, Chad, I need to talk to 33 people to set an appointment to I only need to talk to 30 people to set an appointment. And this is in like the first 2 months of these people diving in and practicing that. Realistically, the number one skill in real estate is how do I speak to people on the phone? And so we've got a tool that's just over the hill from being available to you guys to help you get better at doing that.
And
Chad,
Bob, here's the thing. What's the one thing we know every person in this industry should do that most of them fight doing? And that's lead generate. So wouldn't you prefer to only have to call 30 people instead of 33 and get that down to what if you only had to call 20 people because you use this instead of calling 33? Now you can actually either increase your output or reduce the amount of lead generation to get the same result you were getting because you're using the tools we are building for you here in the Brivity world.
Okay, one last thing. And you guys can go play with this. This will be your homework, go play, because all of you guys have this Ask Gabby feature up here at the top near your search bar. When I'm on a lead and I pull up Ask Gabby, I'm engaging her about that lead. She knows everything about Sam Gutierrez. I could go in there and say, bring up a property I should send to Sam that's similar to properties he's been looking at. I could say, what should my next text message to Sam be to get him to engage with me? I can say, if I was going to call him on the phone, what's a good script I could open with to get him to stay on the phone? Because this dude always hangs up on me immediately after answering. Like, whatever I wanted to ask about in here, I can use the leverage of an AI that's sitting on top of millions and millions of leads and has a really good idea of how you could go progress that lead to the next stage. David Wiggs, I feel like we could talk about this AI stuff for the next hour. We are here for 30 minutes. We knocked him out. Thank you for joining us. More than anything, thanks for being such an awesome leader here at Brivity. We appreciate you. And anytime you want to book yourself, David, do it. Chad and I will be waiting here.
Man, look, do this is about top agents and teams, not about goofy people that work in tech. So we're gonna keep bringing those people to you. But I just felt like this was such a cool product, and we needed to talk more about it. So please go out there and use it. Tell us what you think. We love your feedback. We appreciate it.
All right,
thanks, guys.
David Wiggs, get back to work. Chad, thanks. I'll see you in a little bit. Everybody else, you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next week where we'll do something else.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.